I recently interviewed Israeli Defense Forces Special Forces Commander Joel Golden to clear up some of the glaring misconceptions from the news media on the current Gaza conflict and expose the international community's mindset toward Israel, really setting the stage for the Battle of Armageddon. Join Joel and I for this very eye-opening discussion on this edition of the Endtime Show. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dave Robbins with Endtime Ministries, and I do thank you for joining me on this edition of the Endtime Show. Wow, have we got a program for you today. The interview between Israeli Defense Forces Special Forces Commander Joel Golden and I is very detailed and at times quite graphic concerning events that have transpired during the Gaza conflict. Joel Golden is a very good friend of mine. He's a great friend of Endtime Ministries and the Endtime Show. He lives in Israel, and he has been in the IDF for 24 years. And he's been involved in, I think this is his third war that he has been involved in, along with a plethora of different excursions and things that have happened over the years, helping the IDF defend Israel. So I wanted to bring him on to expose some of the things because the news media has such the spin, and it's like the news media is working with the United Nations and the international community to really demonize Israel and to almost at times side with Iran and the terrorists against Israel. And so I wanted to do an interview with Joel. We've talked about it for a long time, but I wanted to do an interview with Joel just to make sure we cleared up for you this fog that the media has just feeds everybody all the time. But what it's really doing, it exposes some of the international organizations. The United Nations really is what's behind all of it, and the International Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice. It exposes their anti-Israel mindset, providing the conditions for the eventual invasion of Israel at the Battle of Armageddon. The Antichrist will be very anti-Semitic, anti-Israel. The Antichrist is going to usurp authority over the world governing body. He will be the leader of the United Nations or whatever the force is at that point, and be very anti-Israel. The Antichrist will actually be okay with the Great Tribulation. The Antichrist will be doing the biddings of Satan, and the Great Tribulation is the wrath of Satan for that final 3.5 years. So my point is that you can see the mindset of the international community now against Israel, even though all they're trying to do is to defend the Promised Land. But yet the international community is basically telling them, you can't do that. So I wanted to kind of expose that in this interview, and I think that Joel does a pretty good job of doing that. Because YouTube and Facebook censor the Endtime Show so heavily, especially on the topic of war, I will not be able to publish this interview on either of those platforms. For those of you who follow us on the live stream platforms, you can watch this production in its entirety on our Endtime Plus platform. And for everyone listening on the radio, because of our time constraints, I'm only going to be able to show a portion of the interview. So for you as well, if you'd like to watch the radio, this radio interview between Joel and I in its entirety, you'll have to go to our Endtime Plus platform as well. Now, with that said, I trust that you will enjoy this very revealing interview.